Hi, everyone. My name is Cheryl Cohen, and I'm with Arthritis Consumer Experts. And I'm really happy to be joined today by Kelly Lenvoy. Kelly is Arthritis Consumer Experts Vice President of Communications and Public Affairs. And we're going to talk a few minutes about something that I find, Kelly, I'm sure you do too, very exciting. And that is the world of advocacy. So your backdrop is very appropriate for our conversation today. So
We're going to be
welcome
talking
to
about advocacy that's out of this world.
Out of This World. That's right. Kelly's going to be walking us through actually the new area of our website, advocacy. It's always been there. It was formerly called Taking Action. It's now been renamed that section straight up advocacy. We'll be relaunching it today, and we're so excited to have you all here to do this little mini tour with Kelly of our advocacy site. We're going to start with talking about why advocacy is so important and the role it plays in the work that ACE does.
Yeah, I think the simple and short answer is, Cheryl, it's probably one of our most visited and used pages on our website. We're constantly getting feedback from our members about questions around advocacy, questions around self-advocacy, and certainly a theme in our response is that um, by raising our voices together, by amplifying the arthritis voice, we can influence public policy. Based on that, we decided to rebuild and upgrade the advocacy site to help our over 50,000 members and subscribers become better advocates. So talking to them in this on these pages about how they can share their story, how they can share their experience um, with elected officials, of course, but also with media, also with employers, help them understand how decisions that are made in the public arena um, affect our members, affect their family members, and affect care partners and the people around them. So
Fantastic, Kelly. So I'm going to let my finger do the walking for your talking. And I think you want me to start off here by showing the drop down menu.
that's
And
something new is the drop down menu. So
exactly.
let's take advantage of that.
Exactly. So this is, I guess, where people can jump to a section very, very quickly, I
Yeah,
assume.
we're always trying to figure out ways to make it easier to use our website. And this is a page now that has a lot of information. So we are trying to make it as easy for people to navigate around as possible. The first section, Why Take Action, really just serves as an introduction to the page in general. And the answer to why take action, I think, is conveyed in our name as an organization. And that was chosen very carefully 20 years ago when it was founded. And it's
20,
arthritis,
almost 21 now.
almost 21. Um, and that is arthritis consumer experts. People living with arthritis are, are the ones that are expert on living with the disease. They know it better than anyone else. Their loved ones certainly know it better than anyone else. And it's really essential for them to live their best life with arthritis, that they learn how to be their best advocate.
So this
Uh,
really, this piece then, Kelly, of the website as an entry point of this area of the website is really to describe what it is and why it's so important that we all flex our voices, so to speak, and show them that they can get involved, and obviously offer them advocacy resources and tap into our newly created advocacy toolkit.
yeah, and it's actually a new feature at the bottom of every page are these sort of interactive opportunities for people to share their feedback and also to be able to click and get more information. So again, trying to make this as easy to use and as accessible as possible.
And so
Um,
if we wanted to, you can navigate back by using the back arrow to the next section. Is it self-advocacy you want to go to next?
yeah,
Yeah. Or they can use the drop-down menu.
the journey starts as soon as a person is diagnosed. And it's a new journey that of life that begins for that person. And I guess the first thing is self-identification, that that person all of a sudden introduces themselves, we hope, as I am a person living with arthritis. I've certainly heard you say that many, many times. Um, and then adopting and adapting to their role as a self advocate um, begins almost immediately as well. So we felt it was most appropriate. This is something that we've added to the advocacy page before we jump into policy and government and some of those big topics, is making sure people understand their own personal role as self-advocate. And we cover a number of different sections. How to communicate with your healthcare provider, and that can include obviously anyone from a GP to a rheumatologist to a physiotherapist, all of the members on a person or a patient's healthcare team. Setting treatment goals and making a treatment plan, really important for people to understand what their role and responsibility is. Um, and then when faced with treatment decisions, how to make that choice with your rheumatologist, and then explaining arthritis to people in your world, and particularly at work. We know that arthritis is a leading cause of disability, and the accommodations that are made at work and that can be made at work allow people to remain on their jobs and stay employed. So there's another example at the bottom of the page, stay informed. So once again, there's a call to action, as I said, or an interactive moment at the end of every page. So people should look out for that.
Yeah, Kelly, it's really interesting. Um, you're right when you say that when you're diagnosed, that is when your self-advocacy journey begins. And probably the area in which you practice self-advocacy the most is with your healthcare team. And I love that whole section on self-advocacy tips and how it does focus on getting the most for yourself from your healthcare team, which is what the healthcare system is supposed to be all about. So I totally love that section. I'm going to use the drop down menu this time.
Well, a
Uh,
section that I really love is public policy priorities. This is one of my big ones. And I think one of the things that I get excited about is when I think that when I'm doing work in this area, I'm standing side by side with 50,000 other ACE members and subscribers and 6 million Canadians living with arthritis. And the work that we do around public policy priorities really is work that's done to ensure that government policies increase the quality of life for people living with arthritis, as simple as that. We look at prioritizing themes or areas every year, and our new advocacy website reflects the work that we're going to be focusing on in 2021. And it falls into 4 convenient areas. One is models of care, and certainly people who know ACE know that we've been talking about models of care for many years now, as well as access to medications. Our renowned report card is some of the work that we do in that public policy area.
I'm just
Uh,
going to jump to one of these sections so people can see
sure.
how that works, Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So introduction, and then some background information, talking about the process, talking about the importance for people to be involved in terms of government review and approval of medications, and then finally reimbursement access for medications. And that's really what our report card is all about, is evaluating and ranking provinces across Canada by reimbursement access.
Maybe talk a little bit about the second two there, virtual care and health inequities.
Um, we've prioritized them for 2021 because of the work that we started focusing on in 2020, the year of COVID. And certainly these two work or public policy priority areas really moved to the forefront, not just for arthritis patients, but for all Canadians uh, over the course of the I guess most of the year around the pandemic. And certainly the delivery of healthcare changed during 2020, and we are going to be continuing to look at that in terms of the use of virtual care and how our patients are interacting with their specialists. And then health inequities, obviously a constant for us in terms of an area of concern and consideration, but something again that was amplified and that really came to the foreground when we saw the different demographic groups, the different ethnic and racial groups, income groups that were adversely or more adversely affected by COVID. It's something that we want to take a greater look at and have a better focus on in 2021. So
Yeah,
we
this
really
is really about ACE stepping up and taking on its, playing its part in social responsibility. And I think we would ask all of the arthritis organizations in Canada and around the world to do the same. We are fighting for people who, for circumstances not brought on by themselves, we are helping fight together for them, with them, and it's our responsibility.
The next one, contact your elected officials. This is a new section for our advocacy page. It's information that was, I guess, contained in a different format. But again, I think what we've done here is amplified it. And when you think back to those 4 public policy priority areas, this is where now we start integrating.
Right.
So it's not simply a matter of talking to people about how to contact their elected official. We're actually asking them, we're trying to mobilize them around our 4 public policy priorities for 2021. So if they choose and click on any one of these 4, what they're going to get is they're going to get background information that they're going to be able to use as talking points if they are meeting with an elected official, if they are writing a letter to the editor, if they're talking to people at work. And then what's kind of cool here is how to send an email. So if you go email now,
Yeah.
what we've done is we've provided a template
Great.
and help them get started on writing that email. And that could be, again, to many different decision makers, not just government. But that's something that you could format or reformat for some of those different audiences that I touched on.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that innovation.
Let's use that really convenient up arrow that takes us back up to the top of the page. Use that drop down menu. And when you saw, I think on the bottom of a few pages, directing people to advocacy resources or to our advocacy toolkit, this is something new again and fresh for the end of 2020 and for 2021, is a section now that provides, it's basically the advocacy tool kit for our patient members. And that's the first thing that you'll see is the toolkit. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory what we're doing here. Much like the contact your elected official, what we've done here is we've explained with a very nice introduction letter and photo from you. What we've done here is explain to them, here's the strategy, here's some of the tactics, but then we actually give them the tools and the templates to act. And this is all new for us. And again, it's themed and focused around those public policy priority areas. I wouldn't be surprised when people get more familiar with our advocacy site and our resources that there'll be other public policy priority areas that we're going to include. And obviously, we're going to be following what's going on across the provinces and across Canada, both at a federal level, provincial and territorial government level. So this is work in progress. It's organic. It doesn't stop and end with what we see now. It's going to continue to
This
grow.
is so exciting, Kelly, because as you and I both know, one of the things that stops people, they have ideas, they want to tell their story, they want to talk about the challenges they're facing and others they know are facing, but they haven't done it. So they're sort of held captive by their fear of not knowing how to do this kind of work. And I tell you, once you do once you do get there, you are so excited to exercise your voice. Once you figure out that it's not this bottomless pit, of unknowns, you actually can step forward and take action, very, no, I wouldn't say easily, but definitely you can break through and do it.
Yeah, and I'll just point out those two bottom bars using social media and traditional media.
Yeah.
Again, new information, and again explains, what is social media, how can you use it, who are the mainstream media outlets that you would be using, whether it's print or radio or television. But giving people the templates again, we give them the posts that they can put on their Facebook or posts that they can put on their Twitter.
Yeah.
So I think we're being really proactive here, and it's information content that people are going to be able to, again, adapt to their particular use and their particular needs. So we're really excited about it. I guess I'll reveal my sort of policy wonk background, and we can turn to government overview. If you didn't study or weren't following too carefully in high school about government, or didn't take any poli-sci courses, and you want to be able to talk about government the next time you're at a dinner party, we've got something for you here. What we do here is we break down the government overview in 3 sections. We look at how government works at the federal and provincial and territorial level. How does a bill get passed? How does legislation get passed?
Yeah.
And then something that we're really happy about, because we get asked about it a lot, is people get confused with all of the different terms when they're reading something about arthritis policy.
Yeah.
We provide them a glossary. And
Just some light bedtime reading, hey?
it is. I mean, if you click on this, you're probably motivated. You probably are already interested, or you have some questions. Hopefully we answer them. And I think what we're encouraging people is, if you don't see something that you're looking for, or if
Let
you
us
have
know.
questions that are unanswered, let us know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Feedback at jointhealth.org. We love that email address. We hear from our membership and subscribership each and every day. And it is really that feedback, as you say, Kelly, that guides the direction of our work, particularly our advocacy work.
We also include a section on the Canadian drug approval, review, and reimbursement process. I think there are a lot of Canadians, not just in our community, but across therapeutic areas, who have this sort of blind faith that they get a prescription, they pick up their prescription, and they are on a medication, something sometimes as powerful as a medication like a biologic. They don't understand the steps that were taken, that were required before it actually got to the pharmacy counter and they picked it up.
Yeah.
And we get asked about it a lot, but we also think it's something people need to understand, because if we go think about health inequities, if you don't think that you're getting reimbursement access in your province as well as another province, you need to understand this section,
Yeah.
and then you can become with us an ACE advocate to make sure it's a level playing field in terms of reimbursement access across Canada. Something that we're known for and has found a new home is our ACE election advocacy. Many people are familiar with this. If there's an election like there is right now, while we're recording this video in British Columbia and Saskatchewan, this particular subpage and our advocacy, our election platform is where they can get information about the election, how to get involved in the election in their province. But I think most importantly, we put a lot of work behind the scenes to survey the political parties, leaders, and candidates for their views, not just on healthcare, but healthcare as it relates to arthritis in their province. And based on those survey questionnaires and the responses we get, we hope that we're providing an aid or some assistance to people to make a vote, not just for government, but a vote for arthritis in their province.
So last but certainly not least, there is advocacy at work in terms of participating in research.
There is, and I know again, this is an area that is very important to you, Cheryl, because of your role, leading role in Canada in terms of patient participation in research and your own personal participation in research. We know that when we can't find you or get a hold of you, that's often where you are, is in the middle of participating or helping inform arthritis research in Canada. And you know, we have a scientific advisory partner in the Arthritis Research Canada. They play a big role in helping vet a lot of our materials, but certainly this is one area of collaboration with ARC that we're very proud of. What we do
And
here,
I would say research institutions across the country, and certainly academic institutions like
absolutely,
University of Toronto, you know, University of Calgary, University of Montreal, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What we do here is we sort of start very basic, sort of toe in the water. If people aren't sure about why they would get involved in research, we provide them some information. We talk to them about clinical trials. Certainly one thing that COVID has done in terms of bringing everyone's focus around not just a pandemic, but a vaccine for a pandemic. The whole discussion around the vaccine has brought into play some sort of public awareness around clinical trials. We talk about that, and we talk about how people can get involved in clinical trials and provide them a pro and con table, for instance, whether they should consider it or not. So these are just some questions you can ask your specialist or your doctor about getting involved. And then finally, as I said, something I know very dear to your heart is actual patient participation in research decision making. And certainly over the last 20 years in ACE's time frame, we've seen incredible advances in patient participation in research. Some ways for people to get involved, just a click away for them to get information from Health Canada, ARC, Arthritis Society, and then some of our national institutes in Canada and the United States.
Yeah, this is such a great resource. And, you know, as you mentioned, I've been involved in the research environment or community and for quite a long time now. And it's really as a volunteer where I dip, as you say, dip my toe in. And then was quickly submerged, enjoyably so, in the research community. And they have been such fearless leaders in doing their work worldwide. Canadian arthritis research is very widely respected, well done, highly published. And so musculoskeletal, which is the long Greek word for arthritis research, we really are viewed worldwide as a leader. And for those of you watching, when you participate in research, we have to be fair and show an equal number of pros and cons, but you know the whole idea of knowledge being power is so true. And when you get involved in research, either as a participant in the actual study, so your own experience, your own data points, so to speak, are helping to drive the research, and are analyzed at the end and reported out. Or if you're part of a research team and you're helping to identify the actual questions that should be asked of research, is so enriching. And it really it takes your knowledge from just sort of a garden variety level up to, I can now name the plants in Latin. It's sort of that idea of becoming expert in the field in which you live, technically. So I really encourage people to check out these resources. So that is a quick tour through the new advocacy section of the jointhealth.org website.
Please come and visit.
Yeah, please come and visit. Thank you, Kelly, so much for not only taking leadership of this area of our work, but also for skillfully touring us through it virtually. We appreciate that very much. You are, it seems, in another galaxy while doing this. Wish you a safe journey back to Earth. And we wish you all the best out there in arthritis at home viewer land, and encourage you to come back next week to learn more about what's going on in the arthritis world and at ACE.
Please provide us your feedback on our new advocacy page. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Bye, everyone.